Welcome to the Creative Plan Podcast Network. Join us as we share our favorite RPGs, one-shot games, tabletop games, reviews of items, and convention panels, and other exciting things that we run into from time to time. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Kelly, aka Trixie from Ragnarok and Roll, assigned to Ragnarok Story, and Tilda Wimblewick from D&D Journey of the 5th Edition. First off, I would just like to say thank you to everyone for listening to our varied adventures, as well as for rating us on iTunes and rpgpodcast.com. If you haven't rated us yet, we would greatly appreciate it if you could. And if you're looking for more ways to support our efforts, we are now on Patreon, a great site where you can help us continue making more podcasts, as well as some special surprises for our patrons. If you can, please look us up at www.patreon.com/cppn. Every little bit helps. And again, thank you for listening.
Hey guys, Jim here with Creative Plan Podcast Network, and here today I've got a great friend, game master and writer extraordinaire, John Paul Ried. Hey John.
Hello. Hi James. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, my friend. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm very excited. There's a lot going on, and I'm just excited to be here and ready to share everything that's going on. Shall I just jump right into it? Or?
Well, I definitely want you to go ahead and talk about the new installment to the Medford Family Chronicles that's coming out next month, or March or April.
Yes, here's the plan with that. My fourth book, Academic Mayhem, the Medford Family Chronicles, Volume 4, it is all set. We just need to do final editing. Now, I wanted to mention that my publisher, Patty Holstrand, is undergoing major kidney surgery this coming week, and I want everybody to please keep her in the thoughts and prayers, and once she's up and about again, we'll be able to finish the final editing. The original target date for Academic Mayhem was in March. I think realistically it will be possibly May, very, very definitely June or before.
So since there's going to be a bit of a delay, is there any teasers that we might be able to see on your Facebook page?
Yes, indeed. This book is set about 26 years after my last book. One might call it the next generation. Characters that were mentioned briefly in my previous third book, The Pivotal Ruckus, Medford Family Chronicles Volume 3, suddenly these children are suddenly the stars of the new book. And yes, I have some crossovers, and I can promise a triumphant return of our everybody's favorite purple dragon, Kildarius Sharpclaw, a.k.a. Grace Hamilton. I just wanted to say one thing I'm really excited about, James, and I really hope my readers get into this. Book 4, Academic Mayhem, will have my first dungeon crawl. My first 3 books were all very political and very deep and detailed role-playing, but none of them actually had adventurers getting together to fulfill a quest, running around in a dungeon. Finally, in Book 4, we will finally have a group of adventurers running around in a dungeon trying to rescue a kidnapped 7-year-old little girl. I'm just thrilled to pieces. I think it's come together very nicely. And once that book is out, we have several plans with my company, Palamaran Adventures, LLC. We're thinking of doing a series edition, where you could actually get a box set, if you will, of all 4 books. And let's see, I don't want to spoil anything else, but let's see. What else could I say about Book 4 without spoiling anything? Well, the Gamemasters University, this concept I have for a college-like setting for university students learning all sorts of magic, psionic, plane travel, things like this. The Gamemasters University is very much developed in Book 4. In fact, the original title for Book 4, I kind of wanted the Gamemasters University Freshman Student Handbook. It was pointed out to me that all of my other books have two-word titles, so I should continue with that. So that's where we came up with Academic Mayhem. And by the way, this 4th book, we actually get, not only do we get a dungeon crawl, we actually get some multi-dimensional travel and combat. The 9 hells, dimensional planes will get involved, and we'll even have a character a character known as Emperor Lucifer Satan. Let's just say, to pun intended, we're going to have a hell of a time. Oh dear, that's awful. I'm sorry.
Well, but I mean,
okay.
hey,
I mean, anytime you get the Gamemasters University involved, I mean, what? Their mission is to explore the multiverse and find new games.
Exactly, to augment and increase their own powers, technology, and knowledge, and and magic. It kind of reminds me, if anyone here is a Babylon 5 fan, a science fiction show that was very popular in the 90s, the Gamemasters University reminds me a lot of the Psi Corps from Babylon 5.
The core is mother, the core is father.
The core is father. GMU was mother. GMU was father. Gamemasters University. Right, exactly. So, it's sort of like, hey, you want power? Hey, you want magic? Hey, you want training? Hey, you want to rule your own little your own tower, your own dimension, your own planet? That's great. We'll help you. Just do as we say. Just do as we say. Right, exactly. Okay, talk about teasers. Beyond academic mayhem, my company, I hope, will really branch out in the coming 12 months. There has been some call for more maps and more detail of the Palamaran dimension. Everyone who's read my book's map of the continent of Palamar, or the Palamaran continent, there are actually two more surface continents on the planet, and, of course, the Underdark. kind of hard to have a planet without an Underdark, you know? So what we're thinking of is a three-pronged idea. First off, I'd like to pull together a good old-fashioned gazetteer/atlas, Palamaran Adventures Atlas. If anyone remembers the age-old World of Greyhawk maps and gazetteer, or the Forgotten Realm setting, this would be similar to that, where maps would be published with little paragraphs and explanations of the history, geographical features, countries, rulers, that sort of thing. And also, I have in mind something very ambitious. I'd like to produce modules for actual gaming in the Palamaran dimension. Now, sadly, it's too expensive to get licenses for 5th edition D&D to do this. And and I love Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro, but they insist that if you're going to write modules for them, they have to be set in either Greyhawk or Forgotten Realms. To set my adventures in Palamar, or in the Palamaran dimension, I would have to set them up in such a way that they could be applicable for any game system. And you got to remember what Gary Gygax once said. He once said, "Never ever tell the game masters they really don't need any rules." So what I hope to do is produce modules for first through third level, 5th through 8th level, 9th level through 12th level, skill level adventures. Again, the dungeon masters or the game masters would be given discretion on what systems to use, whether they want to use GURPS, whether they want to use 3.5 D&D, whether they want to use 5th edition, whether they want to use Pathfinder or other systems. They'll be able to use the modules that we provide with the stories, with the encounters, with the plans, with the oops, how did that happen? Ha ha ha. You know, all that fun stuff that dungeon masters provide their players. But things like armor class, hit points, all that technical stuff will be left open for anyone to use their particular favorite game system. Am I making any sense here, James, or am I just babbling?
No, that sounds fantastic. I mean, I know, like, with the new Genesis system, they've got a basic outline to use a fantasy setting. And if you have a module that you can just drop into your favorite game system, that would be awesome.
Exactly. And I'll be launching a Kickstarter for this fairly soon, always looking for more investors. And believe it or not, for the last 4.5 years I've been living in Phoenix. For at least 3.5 years, I've been running weekly gaming sessions at a local gaming store here in Phoenix, Arizona. It is a fantastic gaming store, Imperial Outpost Games, located in Glendale, Arizona. I don't have the address with me, on Thunderbird Road near 49th Avenue in Glendale, Arizona, which is a part of the greater Phoenix area. Mm-hmm. And the owner, Darren Johnson, he provides a marvelous store. It actually has 3 large areas. The first area includes everything that a gaming store should have: modules, books, miniatures, supplements, everything for almost every popular game out there. And by the way, he actually markets my books and actually has my books available there too. So another reason why this store is so enlightened. Anyway, the second area of this store is a huge gaming section, at least 15 different tables, and we're talking large tables. We're not talking little cardboard tables. We're talking large dining room tables where people come and run games every single day, every single evening. We play on Tuesday night. We try to start at 6 p.m. In the 3.5 years I've been running games there, I can proudly say we can still count under 10 times we've had to postpone a session. So we're pretty religious about it. The third section at this store, and I wish I knew more about this, the third section of the store is dedicated to miniatures, pewter miniatures, plastic miniatures, hundreds of different shades of every color. I was amazed. I counted like at least 8 shades of blue, with the little paints that they got, and all the primer and all the brushes. I'm not artistic, James. I couldn't draw a straight line or paint anything to save my life. But at Imperial Outpost Games, they have experts who can actually teach people how to do this stuff. And believe you me, I've seen some incredible paint jobs on these wonderful miniatures. I've heard actually they've got like 3 different kinds of miniatures. They've got pewter, aluminum, and plastic, and all 3 of them have their ups and downs with the gaming and painting and everything. I've actually heard that plastic are actually the easiest and the lightest to carry about and paint. So, well, anyway, I just exhausted my knowledge on miniatures. But my whole point is these 3 areas, the store vendor area, the player/gaming area, and the miniatures area, they're all available at Imperial Outpost Games, where anyone involved in our arcane subculture, anyone with that sophistication and imagination would have a blast there. Not to mention also, they have every board game available, from chess right up to Cards Against Humanity and many other board games, card games. I think they even have some computer and video games, I think. Available. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is, let alone the last 4 years, I've been playing games. I've been playing fantasy role-playing games, FRPGs, fantasy role-playing games. I've been playing these for easily 40 years now. I've got hundreds of different adventures that I could create with modules. What I really need, and I'm always saying this, I'm always looking for artists, and I'm always looking for investors. We live in a crazy world where money is necessary for many wonderful things like this, and you know as well as I do, James, the more fundraising, the more funds that we have, the more products we can provide for people. Which leads me into the next topic. I hope I'm not overwhelming people with all the exciting things that my company has coming out, but these are what we got planned. In addition to modules and an atlas for Palamaran, we're also thinking of doing a calendar. Now, you know as well as I do, Boris Vallejo has been doing fantasy calendars for literally decades now, and I keep thinking if he can do it, why can't we? We just need to get the right images of scenes from my 4 books now. So why not pull a calendar together?
Oh, heck yeah. I mean,
any questions so far, James? Yeah.
Oh, and your artwork. I mean, the cover artwork is gorgeous, so you guys got to have a few more, pictures sitting around that weren't able to make it to the covers that we would love to see that.
Yes. Palamaran Adventures, LLC, we've been very, very fortunate. We have 2 marvelous Zenescope comic book artists who've been producing our covers for the last 2 or 3 years now, Chris Ennett and David Delante. Chris Ennett is the pencil sketcher, meaning he designs the whole piece of art, every material object you'll see.
Mm-hmm.
And then David Delancey, from the way I understand it, David Delancey is the color artist. Not only does he do the colors for everything, he does the shadings, the shadows. Anyway, we've had these guys with us for quite a while, and yes, I've consulted them with all of our artistic needs. We're always looking for other artists as well to help augment what they're doing, and good heavens, there's something else. There's one last thing, well, two things I want to talk about also. The next two books coming up after Academic Mayhem, and an idea that my company has had since our inception. Let's see, which would you like me to go in first?
I would definitely like to hear about the next two books.
Okay, the next two books, rather interesting. The next book will actually be a genre change. Da-da, boom, 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 boom. A genre change. Yes and no. Okay, my first four books are definitely high fantasy novels in the Palamaran dimension. Book 5, or really book 1, as it's intended in its own series, is going to be a supernatural shoot-'em-up western, Wild Wild West. In this case, though, I know a lot of people have zombies and vampires and werewolves running around being shot at by sheriffs and Native Americans and Chinese railroad workers and other groups. How about some succubi? How about some succubuses or succubi running around the Wild West, getting into trouble, causing mayhem, and then a big either a Mayan deity or possibly a Tlingit Native American deity, causing more trouble for everybody. And all of these disparate groups, former African slaves, Chinese railroad workers, and immigrants, Native Americans, and of course the Irish and all of the other quote unquote white immigrants. All of them will have to work together. Like, oh crap, we got to deal with this. We got to deal with this strange, powerful deity that's threatening us all. So, and guess what? I have a title for this book. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay, Crossed Targets.
Ooh.
Crossed Targets, the Brody Flint Saga. Brody Flint is my Western hero. He is a former outlaw turned town marshal of all things, which surprisingly happened. Well, many of these outlaws in the 1800s in the West, after they got out of prison, they became marshals and sheriffs. So, anyway. The whole crux of Book 5, and I can say this without giving away anything, and again, Book 1 in this new saga, the whole crux of this would be Brody Flint yelling at an angry mob, saying, "Hey, how the heck was I supposed to know that my girlfriend was a demon?"
These things, they do happen. Yeah, I mean.
Was I supposed to know that? Anyway, right. Well, anyway, so okay, that would be the general part of the story for Book 5. I've been playing with the series title again, the Brody Flint Saga. I was also thinking Crossed Targets: How the West Was Enchanted, or Crossed Targets: How the West Was Ensorcelled or Spellbound. How the West was spellbound. So again, that's what I've got cooking for Book 5/Book 1 in this new saga. Now, without spoiling anything again, I was thinking of having a succubi or succubus from each one of the major groups. Again, each of the major groups I mentioned. And one of them might even be an errant succubi from Palomar who having tragedies, like a lot of her friends being chased down and hunted down and dealt with, and maybe she's thinking of trying something new. Hey, why don't I just jump into this? Why don't I just jump into a random dimensional portal and see where I end up? Hence the Wild West. So I just gave away the prologue.
Hey, sometimes you have to beat feet and make a hasty exit.
Right. So. Anyway, and hold that thought, because she may want to end up returning back to the Palamaran dimension after running around the West for a while. You're like, okay, time to go home. But anyway, okay, that's Book 5. You want to hear about Book 6?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Book 6 is very near and dear to my heart. And what's really, really funny about this is that Book 6 will be a return to Palomar. But this time, it will be a new series in the past. And, would you believe the plot for Book 6 was outlined between me and one of my executive board members and a very, very dear friend. His name is John McDougall. He and I came up with the plot for Book 6 all in one summer evening, just bouncing ideas back and forth. And what will be interesting about Book 6 is, until now, I've been writing on the predicate or the plan that I would be writing for ages 12 and up. The idea being that you want to get as many of the young adults as possible. Mm-hmm. But, well, let's face it, there's certain things you really can't go into detail about when you're writing books for younger kids.
Yeah, okay. with the young adult stuff, there are some limits.
Right. And hey, that's perfectly okay. That's fine. I'm thinking now of something a little more adult. This would be a book definitely for ages 15 and up. And I'm thinking of doing a romance, a real. Yes, I've had many plots in my book, and even major plots with a romance. Some of you may remember my big romance between an Imperial Guardsman, the commoner Imperial Guardsman Nicholas Armand, mm-hmm. and his the lovely fetching Princess Christina Medford. Hey, that was a major plot in Book 1 and Book 2, mm-hmm. and believe it or not, without giving anything away with Book 4, guess who's the Emperor now? Nick Armand. Okay, well, okay. Moving forward, with Book 6. I will even give you the title, and I will even give you the plot. Ready? Mm-hmm. Book 6, how's this for a title? Unexpected Entanglements. Palamaran Legends and Heroes, Volume 1. So again, this is back in Palamar, but it's in the past. It's like maybe 1,000 years before Book 1. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And I love unexpected entanglements because it hints at all sorts of evil sex stuff and entanglements. Dare I elaborate? Okay. And here's the plot. I was thinking, my friend John McDougall and I, we were just talking. We were like, what would be the most unlikely pair of lovers anyone could possibly imagine? And yeah, we were joking, of course, like what would happen if Adolf Hitler and Moses had a homosexual relationship? It just doesn't work, right? Mm-hmm. We were thinking something a little more interesting. We were thinking, how about a dashing and handsome, lawful good male paladin, a hero, a veteran of wars, a nobleman who wants to save the weak and preserve life. This handsome, dashing paladin, his working first name is Drusus for now. But anyway, how about getting Drusus entangled with an evil, corrupt, decadent, sexy, seductive paladin? What is an anti-paladin? They stand for everything paladins do not. Chaos, evil, they want to harm people. They only care about their own interest. They, 1 billion people are going to die? That's fine, just so long as I'm the empress, right? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be fun? And I've got a working title for the anti-paladin as well. Her name would be Jalen, or at least her first name, Jalen. So how about Drusus and Jalen falling in love? I can just imagine a scene with a lawful good and noble king and queen. Oh, how do we rescue our paladin? He's in the clutches of that evil anti-paladin. Only the gods know what wicked and evil torments she's subjecting him to, right? And, well, you can see where I'd be going with that. You see?
Oh yeah.
So, again, they're all John McDougall and I. We tracked out the entire book in about 5 hours.
Oh wow!
we got everything from beginning to the climax to the end. So, I'm not going to give this away, but in a lot of my books, I think most of my readers realize, in a lot of my books, I have love conquering all. Love always seems to get people to do the right things and get them to do the things that benefit everyone, and love usually defeats all the problems. Now, in this book, that might not be the case. If anything, the love affair between Drusus and Jalen would only make things more complicated. How, as an evil anti-paladin, how do you justify to your deities, like, when they're like, why are you romantically involved with that paladin? And, oh, well, I'm trying to corrupt him. I'm trying to gain his trust. And then at the supreme moment, I'll betray him and shatter his world, right? And vice versa. The lawful good deities getting on the paladin's case. How can you be romantically involved with this evil anti-paladin? And what would he say? He'd play Luke Skywalker. There's good in her. I felt it. I can bring her around. Mm-hmm. You see, again, there's just endless fun I can have with this. Oh, okay.
After all, love will conquer all, or love will make you drive off a cliff by accident.
Right. Or love will make you do things that you otherwise would never, ever do. Mm-hmm. Imagine an anti-paladin performing a heroic and good deed, or say a paladin performing an evil, horrible, harmful deed, and well, with throw in a little adult sex and bondage, you get all sorts of fun stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay, eventually, who knows? They actually might have children. How would they end up? Split personality.
I got it from my mama.
Right. No, I got it from my daddy. Right, okay. Anyway, these are the books that I have coming up, and I've already mentioned the modules and the gazetteer and even the calendar we'd like to try. There's one other project that my board and I are very, very excited about. And before I move on to this, is there anything you'd like me to elaborate on with what I've talked about so far?
I think at the end I was going to ask you about each, book 1, 2, and 3 to give one little catchphrase to hook people into. Yes,
sir. Book 1, Reckless Ambitions, mm-hmm. The Medford Family Chronicles, Volume 1. Try to imagine where anything wrong does go wrong, with 4 very ambitious, greedy, selfish brothers all ready to destroy the entire empire just so long as they win. Right? So the catchphrase for Book 1 is that when I have it on the back cover, actually. When phenomenal cosmic power encounters reckless ambitions, you know that many, many people are going to die. Okay. Ready for book 2 now?
Mm-hmm. Bring it on for Capricious Deities.
Capricious Deities, the Medford Family Chronicles, Volume 2. The Civil War continues, and one thing I always loved as a boy, James, I loved reading classic Greek myths, the Iliad and the Odyssey. And what do we have there? We have capricious deities using their mortal puppets, if you will, causing mayhem, destruction, and oh my God, how did that happen? So again, the title speaks for itself. Capricious deities. The Civil War continues and rises to a climax. And anybody enjoying military stories with tactics and strategy and Gettysburg-like battle would certainly enjoy Capricious Deities. And I should point out that all of my books can stand alone. You can read any of them. You don't have to read the first one to get what's going on in the second or the third or whatever. But so the catchphrase for Capricious Deities is very simple. I think I have one of my characters saying it. If you're going to worship a deity, you better make damn sure that they're very powerful, or another deity might destroy you. Right? Okay. Well, anyway, ready for book 3 now?
Yep.
Now, book 3, I admit I attempted a romance, and I think it came across well, but again, it was an unlikely pairing. In book 3, we have an evil, powerful, intimidating, awesome purple dragon, an ancient purple dragon that has been around for over 25,000 years. She has all these powers of magic and has huge piles of fortune just in her treasury room. And, well, she's bored. She's unhappy. Every 100 years or so, she takes human form, goes to a little podunk town over on the next island. She gets a job. Her idea is, hey, let's have some laughs. Let's have some fun. No foul, no harm. Just let's have some laughs with these humans every 100 years or so. Mm-hmm. What usually happens? Somebody discovers who she is. local authorities bring in famous adventurers and a huge brigade of soldiers to attack the dragon. And, usually our purple dragon, Grace Hamilton, she usually ends up destroying the island, just defending herself from all of this. Like, oh crap, here we go again. Right? Well, what's different this time? This time, for the first time in 25,000 years, Kildaria's Sharpclaw has a terrible problem. She's fallen hopelessly, passionately, and insanely in love with one of the human farmers in the local town of Dayton. She can't do it anymore. She can't destroy the town. All of her lovers, friends, and relatives, and they have a horrible humanoid invasion from the north coming down on them as well. So, Grace Hamilton finds herself in an interesting spot. She's like, oh crap, I just can't pack up and leave when things start getting a little hot or a little questionable. Oh nuts, I got to do something. Again, love definitely conquers all in book 3. I guess the catchphrase for that one would be something from a Peanuts cartoon I once saw with Linus and Schroeder, and Lucy and Schroeder. Lucy would always profess her undying love for Schroeder, and Schroeder would either ignore her or just simply start playing another piece of music, usually Beethoven. And at one point, Lucy invites Schroeder to her place for tea, and Schroeder comes over, and then she's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, you invited me. And Lucy replies, it's amazing how stupid you can be when you're in love. Hence, that would be Kildaria's Sharpclaw's dilemma. Like, oh dear, I just can't walk away this time and let them all die. Right? Or I just can't destroy them all and just start over again in 100 years. Anyway, so again, all of these books, my books 1, 2, and 3, I've been very blessed. I've got some wonderful readers. I've got some very special people who help me market the book. And I also wanted to mention that, two things. One, Samantha Kitt, a marvelous local cosplayer, and I'm sorry about the dogs. I'm trying to walk away from them.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Okay. Samantha Kitt is a splendid cosplayer. She still actually dresses up in cosplay for the characters from my books. She's done this for all of my premieres, and I'm very, very grateful to her. And I'm looking forward to getting her ready, doing something special with her for everybody for the next book coming out, Academic Mayhem. Now, I also have a lot of wonderful fans. I've got a fine young man. He's only 15. His Facebook name is Ace Halif, and his first name is Michael. And Michael actually helps me sell my books to his friends. And I have to admit, the sales over the last 2 years have been pretty good. I'm a new author. I've never written anything until about 3 years ago. 2015, Reckless Ambitions. 2014, Reckless Ambitions. 2015, Capricious Deities. 2016 and 17, Pivotal Ruckus. Mm-hmm. But with my sales, everyone keeps telling me things are moving along pretty fast. I've already sold about 1,500 books so far, and that does not include Kindle books or the e-books that we have on Amazon. Mm-hmm. And I hope that as we move into the future and as we come out with more and more books and materials, eventually we'll get that telephone call from Steven Spielberg for the 3 movies. Well, okay, or maybe Peter Jackson. Yeah.
the magical pickup from Hollywood. That would be amazing.
Yes, that's what I think every author aspires to now. Everybody wants to be the new J.K. Rowling, and everyone wants the Harry Potter contract. But well, anyway, my biggest problem is meeting demand. Is making sure that we have enough printed books available. So when anyone requests a copy through my website or through Amazon, that they are accommodated. Now, fortunately, we have been able to do that so far, and I'm also delighted to report that I don't have a huge stack. I'm very lucky working with Arizona Publishing and Patty Holston again, because I do not have a huge pile of books surrounding my bed. Like many people who self-publish, they end up with like 300 or 400 copies of their books just stacked in their bedroom. Fortunately, I don't have that problem. But I'm hoping that as we grow, there'll be more and more demand throughout throughout the country for the books that I'm writing.
Definitely. I mean, and hopefully more and more folks get to meet you at like Tucson Comic-Con, Phoenix Comic-Con, and different events around, around the state and, anywhere else that you can go out to the conventions and meet them.
Absolutely. Now, I want to talk about one more exciting idea. How much time do we have left, James? I certainly don't want to go over time.
We have as much time as you need, my friend.
Okay, well, two things I want to mention. I love all of these events. Tucson Comic-Con, Tucson, Phoenix Comic-Con, amazing Las Vegas Comic-Con, Dev Fair right here in Phoenix, all of these wonderful conventions and events that we go to. Again, they're fantastic. But one other thing I wanted to mention, a potential fan once at one of these cons asked me why don't I have color illustrations in my book, like J.R.R. Tolkien. He says, every 25 pages you'll see a color image in the book. Mm-hmm. And I've tried to explain to him, do you realize that would triple the cost of my book if I did that? My books are each $19.95 at conventions where I can sell them and autograph them. I can actually offer a 25% discount, but only there at events. And so I can sell my books for $15 each. But if I were to add color illustrations and color pictures in the books, the cover price would easily double.
Illustrations are not cheap.
Right, but now moving on to something I'm very excited about. We have a very ambitious project that I am publicly announcing for the first time, and James, I'm delighted to offer you this exclusive because I'm going to need your help, quite frankly. Mm-hmm. Our company, Palamaran Adventures, LLC, will celebrate its third birthday this coming March 2nd. We will be 3 years old. Now, we have one more year to complete. And when we finally turn 4 years old, that would be on March 2nd, 2019. Are you with me? Mm-hmm. Now, why is this important? After a business has been in business for 4 years, they have the option to create a non-profit entity, a non-profit organization that would raise money to benefit people for particular causes. Mm-hmm. Now, what would be better, James, than a new literacy foundation? How about this? Ready? The Enlightened Literacy Foundation, ELF. Elf. Come and join the elves in the fight against illiteracy and help us raise money to give books, magazines, maybe even comic books, to literally give them away to people who otherwise couldn't afford them. Believe it or not, at soup kitchens, in prisons, in physicians' offices, in hospitals. Sometimes people are sitting around waiting for hours to get their cases dealt with, and they have nothing to read. They're like, oh wow, I wish I had a free book. Well, here you go, boom. Here's a free book, Reckless Ambitions, the Medford family.
See, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so this is the idea that our executive board has. We plan to launch this new nonprofit organization 13 months from now, after March 2nd, 2009, and hopefully with a catchy name like the Enlightened Literacy Foundation, ELF, hopefully we'd be able to get some attention and raise some money. Wouldn't it be great if I don't know if we'd ever be able to afford it, but wouldn't it be great if we could get Lord of the Rings stars, Galadriel, Arwen, and Elven, all of these actors, to do a promo for come join the elves in the fight against illiteracy?
Oh, that would be awesome.
That'd be Hugo Weaving, that'd be Kate Blanchett. The idea being that we would create a nonprofit that would be able to apply for federal, state, and local grants, would be able to host fundraising events, would be able to recruit volunteers to help us raise money to promote literacy. I mean, if everything went well, we could eventually hire tutors that would offer free reading lessons to children and adults. It's kind of frightening, but would you believe, according to Google, that in the United States alone, forget the entire rest of the world for a moment, in the United States alone, 18% of adults do not know how to read?
And that's a scary number. I mean,
yeah, that's almost 1 out of every 5. Well, anyway, the idea being that this would be a great way that our company could raise money for causes and people that to promote literacy. And guess what? It would even help us just give away our books for free. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, I mean that way it gets you out there, and people get to enjoy the books. I mean, because if they don't get to read the book, they don't get to enjoy it.
Right. And how can you learn about elves if you don't know how to read?
That's a really good point.
Well, Anyway, James, these are all of the ambitious plans that we have with Palamaran Adventures LLC. I am certainly honored to have wonderful, wonderful people on my executive board. Shall I name them real quick?
Oh, by all means.
Yes. Okay. Well, obviously, I do control 51% of the group, so I'm the one ultimately responsible. Blame me; it's my fault. Miss Laura Thompson, Miss Pam Noyes, Mr. John McDougall, Mr. David Hughes, and my sister, Miss Joanne Reed. We all work together on the Palamaran Executive Board. Mm-hmm. We work again with our publisher, Patty Holstrand, in Arizona Publishing, and we also work with our cover artists, Chris Ennett and David Delante, and of course Miss Samantha Kitts. We all work together to promote our books and offer fun for anyone who wants to read a good fantasy story. Finally, this is what I do for fun. I enjoy writing. I know. Some guys are like, oh yeah, you need to do bungee jumping, you need to do skiing, or you need to do you run around hunting, or you need to do macho cool stuff. Well, I like to write. So whenever I have time, which is very little lately, but whenever I have time on my hands, I just start writing the next book project. And as you know, I certainly play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. So, and yes, I'm 52 years old. I'm not an 18-year-old kid who hasn't experienced life yet, and I'm not living in my parents' basements or anything like that. But, what else could I say, James? I've been rattling. You are a very brave person, sir. You've been letting me rattle on for at least, I don't even know how long, at least an hour. And that's always a dangerous thing, because I may go on for another 2 hours. I have a 12-hour shift beginning tonight at 11 o'clock. So I hope to catch some sleep after we're done.
I hope you keep the energy level high. One thing I was going to say, because you did cover Palamaran Adventures and briefly kind of brought up the Arizona Fantasy Gaming Association.
Yeah.
What about your super secret GM only group?
Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, I will forever salute and praise him as a genius. Facebook is a wonderful and free internet resource. Anyone can use it, and if anyone is careful, yes, I'm constantly changing my password. Mm-hmm. But if anyone, if you can avoid getting hacked, if you can just adhere to Facebook policies, Facebook is a wonderful resource. I've created a new group. It is literally called the Dungeon Masters Secret Society. Mm-hmm. Not very original, but it's definitely expressive. But anyway, the idea is anyone who is a dungeon master or a game, or anyone who may be a secret master over someone, they're welcome to join us. And the idea is that we all share and discuss special topics influence dungeon masters and their games. Mm-hmm. How to deal with fractious players. How many miniatures should you have? How should you design your own deities, or do you just grab the Greek and Norse deities and play with them? Do you design your own adventures, or do you participate in 5th edition Adventure League? Where the almighty Hasbro Corporation designs the adventures for you, and you just work with that. Mm-hmm. Do you try to make money as a dungeon master? That was a recent interesting discussion. There are people out there who actually make money selling spots or selling games to people, where they would play. They would pay a fee to actually play on an internet online game. Mm-hmm. I have not yet tried that yet. I'm almost afraid to, because all of my players do it for free. So I'm sort of like Mark Zuckerberg there. My own game, I'm like, it's free and always will be. Mm-hmm. But, anyway, this is very exciting, and all of this I did for free on Facebook. Mm-hmm. I love creating groups. Oh boy, you want to join the group? Just send us a request. Look us up, Dungeon Masters Secret Society, mm-hmm. and we'll pop up. Send us I want to join the group. We'll add you. And we talk about a lot of different issues. I know you've been involved with this, James. What do you think the best discussion has been so far?
I think one of the best ones I liked was the one about deities, because, you saw the list that I popped out when I saw the conversation, and that's like the short list for my D&D games of the different gods that I like to use in my universes.
Right.
So that way you can see what other writers and GMs have come up with, and you can pick and choose and say, hey, I like this concept, I'm going to use that in my game. So that way you've got this great mixing pot of sharing good practices, and just getting to share with with each other as GMs, the fun stuff that makes us do what we do when we game.
And you can always claim later divine inspiration. All right, I really should stop these awful puns. A giant hook's going to come out from the curtain and yank me. But yeah, that's just one of the things we talk about on the Dungeon Master Secret Society. And you mentioned, actually, the Arizona Fantasy Gaming Association. Mm-hmm. I'm doing my best to see if I can get this to take off. It's intended as a local organization for Arizona residents. Yes, there are an awful lot of groups out there. The Blue Ribbon Army, Geeky Phoenix, and many other groups out there that try to do the same thing. But again, the Arizona Fantasy Gaming Association, anyone can join, and anyone can talk about anything related to fantasy gaming. Whether you play James Bond secret spy games, whether you play science fiction space opera games, whether you play Wild Wild West games, whether you play fantasy games like D&D, all of these things can be embraced and discussed. Now, for the last 3 years, Arizona Fantasy Gaming Association has been up and running. I think we have about 200 members right now, but I'd love to see that go up. And same thing with the Dungeon Master Secret Society. That's a brand new group, and it's funny that group has only been around 2 months, and we already have 70 members. So I mean, there's a definite need out there for enlightened and sophisticated and imaginative people who actually run or run games for other people to join and say, hey, I need a suggestion. Where do I find this? How do I do this? What would be a good concept for here? I mean, that's kind of what we do. We brainstorm. Somebody recently asked how they could bring more intrigue into a Dungeons and Dragons game they were planning. And I just simply said, well, hey, if you've got your adventurers running around in a town, have the adventurers come across an item that's hotly pursued by 2 different thieves guilds. And right there, you've got 2 thieves guilds now harassing the party. Oh boy, we want whatever it is they have, and that could launch all sorts of intrigue and role playing.
That's,
again, silly little.
But yeah, that's a great tool to just be able to reach out and just chat with other folks.
Right.
Now, do you guys do any conventions that you regularly hit?
Well, I try to hit as many conventions as I can, and I admit I'm sort of the heart and soul behind both groups, the Arizona Fantasy Gaming Association and the Dungeon Masters Secret Society. But I have to admit, I've got some very vocal and excited friends who love to join in the discussions, and I think there's a need there. I just hope I can provide the forum, if you will, for to have discussions with everyone. It's one reason why I write my books, because I'm sure I've told you this story already, how I got started writing books, but it was pointed out to me I've got decades of all these adventures just stuffed in a file cabinet. Why not take some of them and write books about them? And again, at first I was like, oh gee, that's a silly idea, and then the more I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? Why not?
That's a fantastic idea.
Well, I know I've told this story, but Laura Thompson has always been a tremendous help and inspiration. She actually reads and proofreads my books as I write them, and she gives me plot ideas. And she and her husband Arthur, they're very dear friends of mine out in Peoria, Illinois, and it's amazing. I'm sure you've heard this story. In 2000. Gosh, a long time ago now. In 2012, I was running a game in Peoria, Illinois, in a little store called Just for Fun, and I was running a D&D game, and oddly enough, it was set in Palamaran. Okay, but anyway, Laura Thompson came at the behest of her husband. She'd never played Dungeons and Dragons before, and she wanted to find out what we were doing. I think she was a little worried if we were like, some sort of satanic cult. Something, but she came to the game, and I was nervous at first James. I was like, oh no, if she's bored, if she doesn't like it, she'll start working on Arthur not to play anymore. You know, why waste your time once a week with that game? Why not stay home with me and your daughter? Well, the opposite happened. Laura Thompson fell in love with it. She loved it. She jumped right into Dungeons and Dragons. This is terrific. This is a wonderful game. Anyway, over the next few weeks and months, she was going through my papers. She was looking through all of my books. Oh, wow, this stuff is just endless. Anyway, she came across a short story that I wrote way back in 2006. That's another story. But I just wrote like 10 double-spaced Microsoft Word pages. You know, nothing long. She came across the story, and she read it, and she was like, wow, John, this is terrific. Where's the rest of it? And I'm sort of, well, Laura, that's all there is. I hadn't written anymore. Well, you know the old saying, behind every great man, there's a great woman nagging, urging him on. Laura urged me to continue the story, and so those 10 pages ended up the prologue in chapter 1 of my first book. Now we're in the 4th book, and we're working on the 5th and 6th books. So again, this is all very fortuitous and divinely inspired, I think, by Laura Thompson and my friends. I'm very excited about what we're trying to accomplish.
Where's the next public spots folks can meet you at?
Well, I definitely plan to be at Amazing Las Vegas Comic-Con. That is June 29th, 30th, and July 1st in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Convention Center. I go there every year. I have several friends in Las Vegas, and I hope to be at several events before that. I hope to be at Dev Fair. It used to be called Dev Con, but it is Dev Fair now. All that nonsense about con being a copyrighted word, and I'm sure you heard about that. DevCon is actually done by ASU here in Phoenix, and I believe that's in March. I think it's March 10th and 11th coming up. And let's see, I think there are two. There's a Maricopa Con that's coming up in August of 2018. That's actually located in Mesa, Arizona, run by Jason Youngdale. He is the con father for that organization. Of course, well, I love Phoenix Comic-Con. I've never been able to afford a table there, but usually a friend invites me to share a corner of a table, and I usually get to Phoenix Comic-Con, and hey, well, James, forgive me for being so blunt, but with your help, I hope to go to Tucson and Tucson Comic-Con this coming November.
Definitely.
I've enjoyed them in the past. Let's see, what else am I doing? Yes, we are doing a book premiere for Academic Mayhem. We are going to have to delay it. The original date was scheduled for March 17th, this coming March 17th, Saturday. But we really need to give my publicist, Patty Holstrom, time to recover from her surgery. Mm-hmm. So I think May will be more realistic, or at the very latest June. But I'm willing to bet it'll be May, I think, when we premiere Academic Mayhem, and that will also be at Imperial Outpost Games in Glendale, Arizona. And Darren Johnson is just he is a wise businessman. He's a very, very good friend, very supportive, and I will sing his praises as often as I can on here and anywhere else, along with all of my friends, Laura Thompson, Patty Holstrom, my artists, Chris Ennett and David Delante. And by the way, someone I forgot to mention until now, Steve Crompton. Mr. Steve Crompton, he's the one who took my my multicolored marker drawing of the map of the Palamaran continent. He's the one who took it and streamlined it and put it in a black, white, and gray format that now is in all of my books. So whenever you get my book and you open at the very beginning pages, you'll see the map. Mm-hmm. That's Steve Crompton took what I had. Oh, I designed it. I created it. And, everything on that map has a purpose. Very much like Middle Earth for J.R.R. Tolkien, and it was Steve Crompton who took my I admit my map looked like a fourth grader's science diorama. It was awful, but he took it and made it much more professional. And again, I want to sing his praises too. His company, Flying Buffalo LLC. Steve Crompton was the original writer of Grim Tooth Trap, if you're familiar with those. From
the old trap books, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Grimtooth's Traps. He was the author of those, and he also worked with Tunnels and Trolls. Again, his company is called Flying Buffalo LLC.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I know I'm going to forget somebody here, James. I always do. And then I'm like, oh, nuts! I forgot to mention so and so when I was on the podcast.
Well,
I know a lot of amazing people. I really do.
see, that's fantastic. See, and if you forget somebody, well, then we just have to write it down, and you have to come back on the show later. You know.
Hell, you know me, James. You don't have to convince me twice. I'd come on every week if you let me. But no. Okay. And hey, I don't even know what time it is. What time is it?
It is 6:13.
Okay. I have to work. I have to work an 11 p.m. to 9 a.m. shift tonight. So I better try to get a little more sleep before I go.
Alrighty, I'll definitely let you go, and hopefully you get some rest.
Thank you. But in the meantime, while Academic Mayhem Book 4 is delayed for just a couple of months,
mm-hmm.
I'm excited and I'm very optimistic, and we will have that out. We will have that out before summer. We will have that out before Phoenix Comic-Con or Amazing Las Vegas Comic-Con, and I'm sure there are other events I'm going to that I can't remember right now. I will say this, though, that you can always reach me at Amazon.com. I have an author page. My full
mm-hmm.
name is John Paul Ried, R-I-E-D. Everybody misspells my last name. You can reach me at my Amazon author page. You can also order my books from Amazon, and you can check out our website. Our website, oddly enough, is www.Palamaran Adventures LLC. Palamaran, Palamaran, Palamaran Adventures. No LLC for the website, just palamaranadventures.com. You can also purchase my book at Imperial Outpost Games in Glendale, Arizona, Drawn to Comic in Glendale, Arizona. There we go. Two people I forgot to mention, Ken and Susie Brown, the owner of Drawn to Comics. I go there every week to get my comic book.
Awesome.
They sell my books as well. Samurai Comic out in Mesa, Arizona. Justin is the manager out there. I'm blanking on his last name, but he has my books as well, and one or two other enlightened bookstores and comic book stores and gaming stores. Les Tanner and his wife, Janice Tanner, and they have a brand new store out in Mesa, Arizona. I hope I'm remembering this. I hope it's Games Fair. Oh dear, I'm trying to remember the name of their store.
It's okay.
But yes, again, all of these people, they help me market my books, and I just hope I can distribute my books more and get more media attention, because again, I'm waiting for Steven Spielberg to call me with that movie contract, you know, or someone like him, but well, anyway, what else can I say, James? I'm honored to be on your show. Please send me the link as soon as you can, and again, thank you very, very much. And we talk about all the exciting, crazy ideas that I have. I hope people find all this stuff exciting, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to delivering on all this stuff because I think it's all very possible. And who knows? We may do a lot of good once we get the nonprofit started next year.
Oh, heck yeah. That's going to be great to see how things go.
Well, hey, do you have any other questions for me, or is there anything else you wanted to ask?
No, that pretty much covers my questions, because I just want to know where else we could find you here in the convention circuit, as well as in Phoenix and Tucson. And definitely, I can't wait till we get to run into each other next time.
Awesome. And hey, I also sometimes go to cosplaying events. The Arizona Cosplayers Association and Samantha Kitts' organization, KITTS, Samantha Kitts, and Denise Caliban, I never pronounce it, Caliban. Well, again, look me up on Facebook. I can refer you to many different wonderful groups that all have something to do with Phoenix, and all are connected to our very special arcane subcult. Again, contact me directly at www.palamaranadventures.com or contact me on Facebook. And maybe anyone who hears the podcast, just mention that you've heard the podcast. I'll give you the 25% discount. And my books then are $15 each. And book 4, Academic Mayhem, that will be out in the coming month. We just have to, when Patty recovers, and then we have to do final editing. So, Again, James, thank you very much for a splendid afternoon. I'm always delighted to visit with you. Please call me again soon and send me the link, and have a wonderful week.
All right. You have a great week as well, my friend, and thank you for being on the show.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, and like always, thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, just check out the show notes. I'll make sure those links as I can that we brought up, and that way everybody gets to share in on the good times and the fun. And hey, guys, remember, keep playing, gaming, and reading.
On the battlefield, I'm a warrior, ready to kill or be killed. I've defeated orcs from the north, sent Kandorian demon spawns back to the depths, and drank with Cimmerian heroes. But when I get back from a hard day of disemboweling my enemies, I enjoy nothing more than to open my castle doors and find a dungeon crate as my reward for blood well spilled. Designed for role players and tabletop gamers, Dungeon Crate is a monthly subscription box service with a treasure hoard of loot you can use on or off the battlefield. Miniatures, dice, tokens, coins, maps, modules, terrain pieces, handcrafted items, RPG jewelry, and more are yours for only a few gold per month. You even get a digital crate along with a physical one as an added bonus. So what say you? Are you ready for postal glory? Oh boy. DungeonCrate.com. Let the adventure begin!
Thank you for listening to the Creative Play and Podcast Network. And feel free to enjoy our other shows, such as D&D Journey of the 5th Edition and Scion Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion hero to Ragnarok story. Thank you for listening. Hey guys, Jim here from Creative Play and Podcast Network. Just want to let you know, on our Facebook page, we'll be posting soon that we've got a Kickstarter that starts this week, the week of February 12th. Go ahead and go to facebook.com/Creative Play and Podcast Network. Jump on in the conversation. Let us know what it is you'd like to see as rewards. Let us know basically what you guys would like, because we want to make sure we're sharing and making you guys part of the show. So come on to our Facebook Live, join the conversation, and check out Kickstarter. It'll be for D&D Journey of the 5th Edition's 2018 season, but you know how that always bleeds over to all our podcasts, because it's all one big family network. So come on, check it out. Let us know what you're interested in, because, hey, you're part of the show too, because we make this so we can listen to it, and you can listen too. All right, guys, thank you for listening.